The disrespect for Justin Jefferson continues. It must be the offseason. So the Minnesota Vikings are in possession of could very well be one of the best receivers at the time his career is done to ever play the game of football at his position. Definitely. I mean, so far in his short career, which has spanned 3 years, he's gone 1,400 yards, 1,600 yards, and 1,800 yards. This last season was phenomenal, cemented his place as one of the top wide receivers in football, right? I mean, we all know this. Vikings fans, people are going to say you're Vikings fans, you're being biased. There's no bias when it comes to this. Like, everything that this man has done has transcended what any other receiver has done in the league. Like, you even look at Jamar Chase. Like, his stats are better than Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase has one of the up-and-coming stars at quarterback, as well as 2 other receivers that are top-notch. And Justin Jefferson is doing this last year on a team that didn't have a legitimate number 2 receiving option until T.J. Hawkinson came in, right? Yeah. So the fact that he's getting so much disrespect from these national media guys, and we're going to talk about Keyshawn Johnson, and Pat McAfee is kind of entered the chat here as well. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. Justin Jefferson is so damn good. And for some reason, I don't know if it's just people trying to make news in the offseason, but the fact that he's getting any of this disrespect is just ridiculous.
It's the Vikings, dude. It's just the Vikings, man. They always give us disrespect. And with Justin Jefferson, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver in the league. And you were bringing up all the stats and stuff, but he has had the greatest start in NFL history by any wide receiver, especially from a yardage standpoint. In pretty much any metric. I would say touchdowns is probably the only metric he doesn't have. And if you want to compare him to Jamar Chase, which a lot of people do, he had more yards than Jamar Chase did in his first 2 years in the pros. And don't forget that Jamar Chase, because I know this is something that people are going to want to say is, well, first off, Justin Jefferson did it with his rookie season being 16 games and not the 18th game. Jamar Chase's rookie season was 18 games. 17 games.
And Justin Jefferson didn't even really play the first 2 games of his rookie year.
Yeah, and he didn't even play the first 2 games. So you're talking like that is extremely impressive. And we're going to dive into the Keyshawn Johnson thing. I guess you can probably bring that up right now. But for him to not put Justin Jefferson in his top 5 right now when he should be number 1, like I can see a little bit right now that you could maybe put Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson because Tyreek Hill looked really good. But when Tua got hurt, Tyreek Hill's production fell quite a bit. And I mean, Tua's playing out of his mind, so you can say what you want about Kirk Cousins, but it's not like Kirk Cousins is always going to be lighting it up all the time. Devontae Adams he was up and down throughout the season. He was kind of a no-show, and you could put that on Derek Carr a little bit, but I just don't see how I don't even think you put Devontae Adams above Justin Jefferson at this point. Like I already kind of threw what I said about Jamar Chase out there, and so did you. He has Joe Burrow, T. Higgins on the other side. Tyler Boyd is his third receiver, which, Justin, like you said, Adam Thielen wasn't the same. Justin Jefferson was kind of by himself until Hawk came in, but at the same time, Hawkinson's a tight end and just kind of gets in the middle of the field. It doesn't pull a cornerback off of him really, like a wide receiver would, like Tyreek Hill or Higgins would, or Boyd would. So that's the thing with Jamar Chase. I still like myself some Stephon Diggs, but he kind of had a quiet season this year. And AJ Brown himself says Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill is interchangeable at 1. So I don't know. I think that was wild. I think right after Keyshawn Johnson said this, he did mention Justin Jefferson, which goes into our next. That brings up Max here.
Yeah, Max Kellerman is a guy I've, even on his time with Stephen A. Smith, I've never cared for the guy. He just talks a lot and doesn't really make a lot of good points. And he just adds to his list of not very good points.
He was always a big Aaron Rodgers, like,
of course, rider. Yeah. but his comment here, Max Kellerman appeared to clean up Johnson's list. I mean, okay, whatever. I'd probably put Justin Jefferson at 4 or 5 because he is so productive. Guys like Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp, I agree with you. Even if it's the system or whatever else, when they're in the right situation, they're going to get 1 million catches, 1 million yards, and 1 million touchdowns. He says that like he's trying to be like complimentary. Putting Justin Jefferson at 4 with what he's done so far is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So Tyreek Hill, like, okay, I you can argue with Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams, I would say, but also but also at the same time, like Devontae Adams gets open a lot, like, and he had some monster games this last year playing with Derek Carr as his quarterback. But Justin Jefferson, man, just some of the things that guy can do, and it's the thing, he's not the most physically gifted guy in the world, not the fastest, not the biggest, but he catches the football every time it comes his way, right? Like Tyreek Hill has that little speed factor to him, obviously, as we know, but I still I don't think you could. I mean, you could argue maybe one A and one A, 1B, and 1C between Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, and Justin Jefferson, but not having him on your list at all is ridiculous. And AJ Brown, I like AJ Brown, but like there's some games where he just kind of disappears, and that's with having two really good receivers on that team where you can't really just because that's what people are going to argue. It's like, oh, well, Justin Jefferson. Well, he had that game against the Packers. He had a couple other bad games. It's like, yeah, when he's getting shadowed and 3 guys on him because he's just so unstoppable. I don't know. This list, and then their explanation after Max Kellerman trying to be like, oh, I could put him at 4 or 5. Like,
4 or 5.
You're a clown.
Yeah, that's a clown. And I personally, like, at this point, I would definitely put Justin Jefferson above Devontae Adams. Like you said, he went from 1,400 yards to 1,600 yards to 1,800 yards. He's only gotten better every single year, and Devontae Adams kind of stayed the same. And I mean, obviously he was with Oakland. Like I said, he had kind of up and down games sometimes, mostly, could be because of Derek Carr. But I think it's definitely fair to at least say last season, Justin Jefferson passed Devontae Adams. And I mean, I would also say, I mean, you are giving a lot of disrespect also to Cooper Kupp in not putting him on this list at all either. Cause I do like AJ Brown, but come on, Cooper Kupp. Just 1 year ago, I know Cooper Kupp had his injury this past year, but 1 year ago, Cooper Kupp dominated in this category. And some people still didn't even want to put him in their top 5 sometimes. And he was dominant before his injury again. So I think it's just Cooper Kupp gets a lot of disrespect as well. But Justin Jefferson, I think there's no question he should be at the very least 2. I think 1, but at the very least, I think he's number 2. There's no reason to say otherwise, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And especially we'll bring up the next one with Pat McAfee, with what Pat McAfee said, which you have that one as well. You want to pop that up here? Mm-hmm. I'll let you read this real quick, but yeah, and then we'll talk about it. But
that's the thing, like, just as you think, like, yeah, I mean, it's off-season content, right? People are just trying to get clicks. Just make
that was got to be coming after the Vikings,
right? But like, make a little bit debatable content, like content. I understand it. So you get to the point, you're like, okay, Keyshawn Johnson said it. A bunch of people disputed it because they know he's wrong. We're done. But no, then you got Pat McAfee coming on. This was today on the Pat McAfee show, joined by AQ Shipley, like he is often on that show. And Delvin Cook came up in conversation, which is fine because I know they're talking about he's got multiple offers on the table, which is whatever. But what they said is just atrocious. On today's episode of Pat McAfee Show, Pat made an unserious comment about Justin Jefferson. This is from a Vikings page, of course. You can tell a little bit of the bias here. But the man that typed this is not wrong. So the future Hall of Fame punter turned ESPN analyst, because he sold out to ESPN, thinks Justin Jefferson wouldn't have had the same level of production without Cook. Delvin Cook was their offense. Like, the reason why I think Justin Jefferson has that kind of production is because Delvin Cook is in the backfield, said McAfee. Now, Pat McAfee, I don't know about you, but I respect Pat McAfee. Yeah, I think the guy's one hell of an entertainer. I think he's smart. I think he knows what he's doing. But if you watch him enough, there are some times where I feel like he just says things and he says it and you're just like, no, that's not right. And this is one of those examples. Like, if you watch this team last year, yes, Delvin Cook had some big explosive plays, but Justin Jefferson was not, like, Kevin O'Connell admitted himself, we didn't run the football enough to open up the offense. Like, exactly. See, this is, and Pat McAfee is falling. It's a good thing he's going to ESPN because he's falling right into that trap of literally see headline, say something stupid, try to back it up, no merit whatsoever. And that's what ESPN does. They run with something like, I get these analysts, they watch 32 teams and a bunch of other stuff. This is just a guy who doesn't know this team deeply, doesn't listen to what Kevin O'Connell says, and just kind of just makes his own story. And we all know that's not the case because, like I said before, Kevin O'Connell straight up said we didn't run the ball enough to open up the offense completely. He's
thinking of it. It was kind of like that with Delvin Cook maybe in the past,
right?
This year specifically, it
was opposite. This year,
you cannot say that. This team ran through Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, because Delvin Cook sometimes couldn't run through the offensive line.
And yeah, I mean, there's a reason. And I like Delvin Cook, but there was no question in my mind that this past season, like you said, like he still had the speed and explosiveness on some plays, but he was not able to really get breakthrough tackles at the line of scrimmage. He was getting tackled a lot there. We did not get to see the best Dalvin Cook last season, and it was extremely obvious to say the game did not run through him, and it wasn't because of him why Justin Jefferson succeeded. There's just no way possible. It was not. That's not even what the offense was like. And like you said, KOC says himself, like, we needed to run more, and it's something that we'll obviously do this year more, but it's still going to be ran through Justin Jefferson. He's the star. That is what's going to happen. Anytime last year, actually, we can bring this one up too. Anytime last year where Justin Jefferson didn't get multiple catches earlier in the game, or a lot of the times our little mid-game lulls that we had in the second and third quarters, a lot of that Justin Jefferson didn't get the ball in his hands. Because as Viking fans, obviously you talk on here, me and you text each other, whatever. It's like, you got to get it in Justin Jefferson's hands. Like, what are you doing? I don't care how you have to do it. I don't care if he's the one throwing the ball, since, you know, he's the 33rd QBR behind Justin Fields or whatever. Right. I don't care. Just get the ball in Justin Jefferson's hands. So anyone who's watched it, they know that team run through Justin Jefferson, specifically last year, and to the point where we were 13-4. You take Justin Jefferson off this team, we're probably not a 9-win team. Probably not even close. I'm probably being generous saying 9 wins without Justin Jefferson. So how can you not even put him in the top 5? You're not Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow, like in a stacked defense, stacked offense, besides maybe offensive line. And same with, the Raiders and Devonta Adams, you can say something, but the Miami Dolphins had a lot of players too. They have a solid offensive line. They have Jalen Waddle. They have Tyreek Hill. Tua was playing fantastic when healthy. And obviously you did see it in Tyreek Hill's stats once Tua fell off or whatever. So I don't know. That's why Justin Jefferson was up there for NFL. He was the one offensive weapon that was in consideration for MVP and is again next year. And you don't even put him in your top 5. Stop it.
Like offensive player of the year as well. Like not in your top 5 and saying that he was successful because of the running game. Like Pat McAfee, did you watch the Vikings last year?
He didn't.
Come on, man. Come on. And he still called Adam Thielen a stud receiver all throughout this entire season. It's just, I don't know, man. I
like Pat McAfee, like you say, but obviously he didn't know what he was talking about in that situation.
No, and that's, like, again, it all just comes down to these media personalities, especially ESPN, because ESPN sucks. ESPN guys who just don't really. You don't want to say they don't know football, because they do. Obviously, Keyshawn Johnson is more of a receiver than any of us do.
Yeah. But no, we know more about receiving.
But
than him,
you can tell that it's just for clicks with Keyshawn Johnson. He was just trying to get some people riled up. And then the other issue, of course, with Pat McAfee, it's just one of those things where he's just talking and he doesn't understand what's going on the Vikings side like we do, because that's the team we sit there and watch. So
yeah, KOC's pass first, offensive head coach, offensive coordinator, you can say. And then Keyshawn Johnson, right when he gave his top 5, he immediately is like, I know we don't have guys like Justin Jefferson. Like he knew he was doing a top 5 list that didn't include Justin Jefferson, and he knew that some people would say something about it.
Yeah. Just ridiculous,
because he should be in there.
Yeah, just ridiculous. There it is, but that's what it is. Media disrespect towards the Minnesota Vikings. Never thought I'd see it against Justin Jefferson, but we did. So
this guy's the best Absolutely. In the NFL, and he's gonna prove it again next year, man.
Absolutely. But anyway, that's our thoughts on this whole situation. What do you guys think? Are these guys wrong? Of course they are. Let us know down in the comments your thoughts on these media personalities totally disrespecting Justin Jefferson. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys next time on the GG Sports Podcast.
Skol Vikes.